Bobby's here, everybody. Don't you fret, because you're in the house of Discombobulated. The show where everything's made up and the intros don't matter. Hey, I'm your host, Bobby Jaycox. How are you? How are you? How are you fearing? Don't people say that? How you fearing? Or they did say that? No one would ever speak like that ever. Not nowadays. Are you God-fearing? You should be in that is actually how you should feel. Because we're in spooky season. Today's October 1st, which means when this comes out, for you, it will probably be October 2nd. Or if you're listening to it once this podcast takes off, I will be dead. So what? But you gotta get that God-fearing in you, because it's fucking spooky time. Spooky season. I would actually like Halloween even more. And I feel like everyone likes to be like, I don't know if you know, but I'm kind of a big Halloween fan. No shit. Or, I mean, it is only that, or like, you're like, I hate Halloween movies, because people are like, they don't like to get scared. They don't like horror flicks. Do you say flick you off or flip you off? I think if you say flick you off if you're a child, and then you say flip you off as an adult, and then you just start saying fuck you. But wouldn't Halloween be cooler if, like, as soon as October started, you were like driving, and then like all of a sudden from out of like the back seat, like someone popped out and scared the shit out of you? Like a friend, and they're like, haha, dude, this is a call in sick to work day. But it's not a call in sick to work day. It's actually something it's just a scare holiday. And then you can just like play tricks on your friends or treats. No one would do that. Trick or treat. Oh, fuck. Do I want a trick? Do I want a treat? Are they asking us? Like when you are a kid and you're like, trick or treat? Oh, do you want a trick or I don't want to look up that because the internet doesn't reach here. Well, whenever I look at the bars, it does have one at the bottom, but it's like no internet connection. I'm like, then show me a line through the internet. Like it has the weather. Why is there a line through the weather? Oh, that's my iCloud. And then what's that? Dropbox with what looks like a herpes. Dude, my phone has so many notifications on it. I love You think I'm discombobulated? Fucking look at my cell phone. I love having people be like, how many fucking emails do you have? I'm like, well, every once in a while it'll reset, but sometimes it says 46,000. But let's say it's like, what are you going to do? I'm going to get like, just like go back to managing it? No way. I'm not doing that. It's spooky season. What am I afraid of? Snakes? Hurting before I die, not death. Don't get it confused. I am scared of when I die being like, that's what I'm scared about. But like dying, I bet it's fine. It's probably, I'm not going to, no, we're talking about spooky stuff. We're not talking about the afterlife, but God damn. I'm afraid of snakes. Getting an STD. Having a baby. Like, I guess actually like having like to have to give up on, your dreams or your life, that would fucking suck. Because I never ever actually think about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm scared of snakes. So one time I had that guy put 5 of them on me. It's not a joke. It is not a joke. And the biggest part of it is that he pulled these out of his pants. And I know right now you're thinking like I'm being silly. since I've been talking about snakes, have been saying 100% of the truth. Dude, me and my buddy Steve Rains, we used to have this show called Stupid Brain. And I feel like comedy is like, I do kind of bring it back to music, but like, I feel like there are certain like commonalities. And one thing that I notice is it's like, rarely does someone just do one thing. Like there are people that just do stand up, but usually you do stand up and you do some sketch comedy. You know, you make sketches or skits. People are like, they're sketches. I'm like, if people keep calling them skits, maybe they're fucking skits. Are we gonna, you know what I mean? Like, what? Who cares? I can't believe you misidentified a thing I write that sucks. Like, even on like the best sketch shows of all time, there's always a couple stinkers. So, I didn't spill any. Am I a new person? Wait, hold on. Is that wet or just a spot? I can't tell. Did I catch all that? Am I peaking as a person? No, peaked. But, what the fuck was I talking about? What I'm scared of. The thing. Oh yeah, you do like different kinds of comedy. When I met my buddy Steve, like so it's like he did improv, and that, you know, so it's like, to me, I guess I can't think of anything else. There's like stand up, sketch, and improv, and then I guess like being a clown or like something like a literal clown, I guess. I just don't want to leave anything out. I'm like, and a comedian, magician, or whatever. But whenever you're a comedian, you know what I mean. I'm trying to think of any other subcategories, but I always wanted to do all of them, and I did, and I do, and I will, and I can't stop. The only thing I don't do anymore is improv as much, but that's because you have to be on a team. It's a lot of work, and it pays the opposite of zero. You pay. I'm not shitting on improv. It's an amazing thing, but everyone that I know, you kind of have a time with it, and then you kind of set it down. But I would love to like get back into it again, play some more. I think teaching it would be fun. I think getting back on a team would be fun. But the point of my story was me and my buddy Steve at the show Stupid Brain, and that's what you would do. That's why I was saying we're like bands, because like I did stand up, but then you meet someone else, you're like, hey, we could like start a thing. And then so it's like I did stand up, and then, you kind of start like, just like music, you kind of play with other people. So you start writing with people. Like I wrote with my buddy Chris Briggs first. He was the one to help me write my first set. Like I would write like the idea. I'm like, this is what I want to talk about. And he's like, help me write tags. Like it literally was like a writing partner immediately, which was crazy. And then he started stand up, did amazing. He would be better than, I think he did. I believe his first time was better than my first time. He did watch me, but I'm saying that because my ego is as small as my penis. Is that, I don't know. Sorry, I'm slamming coffee. I fucking worked today. It is a Sunday, though. I worked on the Lord's Day, which means I'm going to hell. And but it was for a Jewish person, so it means that I go to definitely a cooler heaven. I feel like the only like religions you can like really respect that I know of that like, or you're like Judaism, Buddhism. I don't know much. I can't think of I don't know enough about Hinduism, but I feel like I can throw that in there with it. Anything that's not Christianity or Catholic or Pentecostal or what's that? Scientology. I don't like any of those ones, but like you respect those because they're like cool. They have like a little bit of longevity behind them and some actual structure, and it's not as it just seems like they're actually trying to find the answer in life, whereas like the other one's like, you gotta believe this. Well, what if, okay, whatever, bye. It's the most manipulative relationship you could be in, is that? But I'll never get to the main point, I guess. But yeah, so I'm all over the place. That's why you hear me sipping coffee. But So you'll meet someone, you start, you write, play, and then, eventually you do the thing. So it's like I picked stand up. That was the thing I did first. When I was actually I did improv first in like, I guess, grade school. I didn't even know about stand up then. And then later you start doing more and more stuff. But then it's like, so I did that. And then STL Up Late was a sketch show in St. Louis. And they I guess knew I was doing improv, but also kind of knew I did stand up. So I guess they were like, this guy could write. So they brought me on as the like head monologue writer. And then as quick as I could, I tried to be like, I want to write sketches. And they were like, you got to pitch them first. And my first couple pitches were real dog shit. But I think it was like my second or third one that actually they're like, okay, we can make that. So I knew it took me a second to try to get in there. But I also would feel the same way when some of these fucking sketch writers would try to write, could I write a monologue joke? And then they would, and it wouldn't be good. But some of mine weren't good. But yeah, so I did that. And then stand up, improv, sketch, as far as like really taking it seriously besides like high school and stuff. And then like off of that, like, so you do all the things and it's just like being in a band. Some people are like, I play guitar, I sing, play drums. Usually the best people do most of them, like more than just one specifically. And that's how I feel like it is with stand up. And most of the people I know, we do all of them. And so I started taking improv classes and I guess they were like, oh, this guy does stand up too. And I was doing all right at improv, I guess. And so they brought me on and then, you meet people in that group. And then from that, like, different things branch off. So me and my buddy Steve made this thing called Stupid Brain, which was like just I feel like as a creative like person, and when I say that, I really don't mean that like it's like an elite thing. When I say I feel like there's no way to talk about it like as a creative, but I don't like as a comic. Like I don't know what the fuck to say without sounding like a dickhead. But whatever like thing you want to do and you start to like strive for, you'll want to like make other shit. So I don't remember what I was saying, but me and my buddy Steve, I'm on this sketch group and there's, so many other things we've like done with other people. And we just felt like we were doing stuff with Up Late, but you still want more, you're like, I want to do something else. And so we had this idea of like making a sketch stand-up like music show, because that's what I would try to do sometimes too, is like I would have house parties and I would have musicians and comedians. Some of my favorite shows I've ever seen, like I love like a variety show live. A variety show's the best. One of the best ones, they're about to have their 10-year I think farewell show, and it makes me so fucking actually sad. Sorry, hold on. Shit Hole, because Shit Show is a sketch show in St. Louis. Shit Hole is in Chicago, and I don't think I'm going to get up there for their 10th anniversary, but fuck, it's like the best DIY variety show ever, dude. It had such a killer vibe, message, energy, comedians, musicians, French. Oh God, it was so fucking punk rock and cool, and there was artwork all over the walls, and it was in an attic. Oh my God, one of the best times ever. I did that show like 2 or 3 times, I think, and I talk about it all the time. But they would have all this like a variety show. So me and my buddy Steve had this idea to do that, and so we did a bunch of shows. We had like a show where we wore like tailored suits, not even like wedding suits, like ones that you would like be a maestro and conduct a like a symphony. And was it that same show? Yeah, in that same show we had a bodybuilder carry us on stage. Oh, what was it? Seidel. I can't. Fuck. Forgive me. He's ripped, and I follow him on Instagram. I saw him once. I saw this bodybuilder once at Costco, and it looked like he was joking with how much meat he was buying. And I was like, dude, it is a job to be that in shape. But this bodybuilder carried both of us on his shoulders on stage in the nicest suits we've ever worn. And it was a Halloween show. And that's why I'm bringing this up. And we had this idea we were like, all right, well, we'll try. We would do it however we wanted to, and we knew that if it didn't go together, that was kind of like the point of it. And it was like Stupid Brain. Like, we're both silly dudes. We took stuff seriously as far as comedy, but we weren't We weren't going to be like, and start. And it was like, whatever you guys want to do. And we would have like these loose acts. We'd have like ideas to do up front that would be like, let's never do that again. We'd do another idea. Be like, that actually worked. We shaved Kudis's hair on stage. We shaved his head. We've did a lot of stuff, but we had a Halloween show. And me and my buddy Steve were sitting at this place called The Loft, which we could have a podcast with everyone who lived at that fucking loft and everyone who's, have guests of people that have been there, because that place was a fucking amazing catastrophe. A spectacle never seen before or again in that space. We gave that space the time of its life. And we were hanging out at the Loft and we were trying to think of shows, ideas for Stupid Brain. We we would have promos where I would light my socks on fire. And then whenever it blew, cause I'm not telling you how to do this, but anyway, don't light your socks on fire. But I did, and it went out really quickly. Sometimes it doesn't, so don't do that. But I lit them on my socks on fire, and we didn't have anything to. What was I thinking? So we would light our socks on fire, and that would be our promo video, and then do it in slow motion and be Stupid Brain. And so we're hanging out, thinking of all this stuff, and we would really just try to brainstorm, because we were you wanted it to be different, because whenever we were with STL Up Late, which no one could get right, they're like, STL A Place? I'm like, no, STL Up Late. They're like, huh? Great name, great. It's still. It was great, until our equipment got stolen. Okay. Yeah, allegedly. But I will. I'm turning into an asshole dick fuck. But it feels good. To be honest. I'm a stinky bitch. So we were. Is anyone listening? Is anyone listening to me right now? What did they say? What did she say? Was that Billy Madison? Is anyone even listening to me? But we were coming up with ideas for the show, and it was a Halloween show. And I think my buddy Steve was like, let's do our fears. What do let's do our fears. And, we both believe in the honesty of comedy and the truth of it, and trying to be I was we would try to do these shows to push ourselves too. Every time the show would be over, we would be what the fuck, dude? How did we get that shit going, dude? And, yeah, so Steve, asked me, he goes, hey, do you have any fears? And I was like, yeah. I'm honestly really scared of snakes, and I always try to face my fears. I really, really do. As small as starting to eat vegetables that my family I didn't even know what they would look like. I didn't even know what a radish was. Stop being I don't like that. Just giving up on all those things that you think you're afraid of, and being just becoming a better person, I think. And I don't think if I can handle snakes, it makes me a better person, but confronting your fears and going farther than them, fucking not bad. So, let me slam this. We do this fucking, we have this idea for the show, and I was like, yeah, my biggest fear is snakes. And if I had to have a snake on me, legit, that's my biggest fear I could think of, besides something fucking crazy, someone dying, or whatever, a fear that's could be can kind of be overcome. So you know what? If we do the show, man, I will put some snakes on me. What's your biggest fear? And he goes, oh, deviled eggs. Steve, I said snakes. I know, dude. That sounds scary, dude. I'm not really scared of snakes, but I am scared of deviled eggs. I'm Like, you can't, and I'm like, you can't be like, that. Who was that woman on Maury that was like, whatever, was she like scared of pickles or something like that? And they're like, bring out the pickles. And she's like, ah, ah, ah. I'm like, you're like that. He's like, no, just like, if I think about eating them, I want to throw up. And I was like, Steve, I'm going to have snakes on me. And he's like, yeah, and I'll try to eat some deviled eggs. I was like, all right. So like we're on stage. We're in these fucking nice suits. I got a photo of it somewhere. And we get to the part of the show where I was like, guys, it's Halloween. So me and Steve wanted to do our biggest fears. So my biggest fear is snakes. Everyone's like, oh, what? And I was like, I'm going to have a snake put on me. Everyone's like, people start like looking around, freaking out. I'm like, there are snakes here. And so, but I'll get to that. There were snakes there. And then I go, and Steve is going to eat deviled eggs. And there were like people who were like, what? And like maybe 1% of the audience was like, yeah, I hate those too. But I'm like, but do you guys hear what I said? And I was like, who thinks mine's worse? And everyone's like, 100%. And then like 2 people were on Steve's side. There might have been more, but I was like, dude, this is crazy. But like some people really don't like, they enjoy snakes. So like they really might, their fear might be this or whatever. So someone made Steve deviled eggs, and then Steve called like a guy and got like him to bring some snakes. So fast forward to the night of the show, you know, like I said, we were on stage, but I'm like, right before the show, this guy gets there with these snakes, and they're like covered up, you know, like under cloths in their cages and stuff. And I get back there, and I kind of start. I'm actually pretty proud of myself that like I went back there, and I knew they were back there, and I wasn't scared. I was anxious, you know, because I know they're in there, but I had to say something because I was like, hey guys. And to the guy there, like I started kind of looking around, and I wanted to be chill, but I was like, hey, I'm not, you guys aren't going to fucking throw one on me. No one's going to surprise me with them. All this stuff. I tell this guy with the snakes, I was like, before we get into this, dude, like I'm being very honest. If you throw one of your snakes on me, and I care about snakes, that's the thing. I don't hate snakes. I'm just scared of them. I don't like how they move. I don't like how they look. And biblically, they're the devil. So I'm trying to befriend the devil. And I was like, dude, I'm just being honest with everybody. Like if someone throws a snake on me, that snake might die, and I don't want to do that to an animal. I don't want to kill a snake. I'm just like, I might fling it off me. And everyone was like, no one's going to do that. And I go, okay. I'm like, because I'm already doing something I don't like. And so he's like, oh, cool. So I meet this guy. And I told him, I was like, listen, when we get up there, dude, like, we're going to have you bring on the snakes or whatever. And I go, they're not going to get scared of the lights and bite me. He's like, no, dude, I promise. I was like, they're not going to hear, you know, huge applause and laughter because our show's so fucking funny and like freak out. He's like, no one's going to, I'm like, they already ate. No, I'm not going to get bit or anything, dude. He's like, I promise you're not going to get bit. And I go, cool. And you're not going to like fuck with me. Like if I ask you to take these snakes off of me, you have to promise you're not going to like, oh, you're good. Like he was like, I swear everything. He couldn't have been cooler. So now I'm on stage and we're like, all right, guys, we're going to bring up the snakes and deviled eggs. And like people kind of start getting scared because the guy's wearing them. He has like one around his neck. It's like a ball python around his neck. And then he's holding one. And I guess that was it. And he had a lot more snakes with him in the back. He had a big python, which I was like, he later was like, I don't know if I'm going to bring this guy out. I was like, I'm okay if you don't bring the fucking huge guy out. Like, well, someone can come back here and see him, but there's a lot of people. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. So we go on stage, or he comes on stage, and this guy has been waiting his whole life to be on stage. This guy wanted this. I've never seen someone want the spotlight more than this fucking guy. And I mean, it was wild. This guy comes on stage and he has the 2 snakes, and I'm kind of scared, but I'm also like, where the fuck are the other snakes? And he goes, oh, hey, everybody. Like, he's like, I'm like, hey, this is, I don't know, Sammy the Snake Guy. I don't remember this fucker's name, but you'll see why after the story. I was like, I didn't like, this guy kind of fucked with us a little bit, but I didn't mind. It was funny, but I was scared. I'm overplaying it, but so he comes on stage And he's got the snake, and he's like, all right, who wants the ball python? And he goes and he puts it around my neck, and like people gasp, and I'm like, I'm breathing pretty heavy, but I'm keeping my cool because I like facing my fears as much as I can. And so he puts that one on me, and then he has the other one, and he hands it to me. That's how I remember. No. I think he put them in my hands. So I cannot remember because I was having a trauma response. I don't know. And so I'm like kind of fucking freaking out, you know. And he puts the snakes on me. And then I'm like, I thought he was going to bring more snakes. And so I think he's going to walk off stage. And I'm ready to like, you know, you have to keep the show going. I can't just be scared. And I'm just breathing heavy. And the one's like, you know, kind of crawling around me. There's video of it somewhere. And he like puts his hands on his hips and he goes, oh, well, the boys here at Stupid Brain asked if I would bring me some pythons. He asked specifically for ball pythons. And this motherfucker starts unzipping his pants, and I think we're going to get canceled before that was a thing. And this guy unzips his pants, reaches into his pants. I'm like not knowing what to do, and I have snakes in my hand. And Steve at this point, I guess he's trying to eat deviled eggs. I don't remember what the fuck or when he started eating those. He's like, and this motherfucker pulls a snake out of his pants as if it's his dick, and then puts it around my neck and then goes, you can't have the ball python without the balls. And I swear to God, this guy pulled 2 balled up little tiny ball pythons out. And I'm like, are those things mad that they were just in your nuts? And like, everyone's laughing. I'm like, I don't remember what I was doing. And so this guy like fucking puts it on us, and I was like, thank you. Steve's like throwing up from like deviled eggs, and then I'm like, that's so easy. And then he grabs one of the snakes and he like kisses it, and I eat a deviled egg because I'm like, and then I probably tried to kiss him. And it was an amazing show. We used to have like really fun ass weird shit, and that was like the whole idea of it, to be like, let's try to push, you know, just like a standard show, you know. And not saying like we were trying to be cool. We just wanted to, that was something I wanted to see, is like something really weird. And people loved it. And so, yeah, dude. This fucking guy, he really went above and beyond. And I've just never seen, I just can't believe the confidence to put snakes in your fucking pants. I wouldn't even want ants in my pants. Remember that game? And long story short, the amount of time I tell stories, it did not help my fear of snakes. It did make me know that I can be calm and handle my anxiety if someone calmly is going to hand me one. But people kept asking me after the show, like, did you handle your fears? And I'm like, I faced them. But I don't think, or whatever. But I kind of have the same thing with heights. Like, even when I was a firefighter, like, I liked pushing we had this day at the academy where they bring, like, in the tallest, like, extension ladder that's, like, on the top of a fire truck, like, in the area. And I don't remember how tall it was, but so fucking tall that on the day you have to like climb it, you have to do like all these different things. And if you can't get to the top and touch it and come back down, you don't pass the academy. And I remember going up, I'm like, this is easy. Okay, this is shaking. Oh my God, I'm scared. You're so high up. I don't remember how fucking high up it was. It's so high up that you feel like it's going to break. And it's on a fucking fire truck. That's how scary it was. And I'm scared up there, but I enjoy pushing myself past those moments. Riding motorcycles, not slow. Riding dirt bikes, if I was just just riding around, I don't think I would, that doesn't really scare me. That's just fun to me. But getting on a highway on a motorcycle, fucking terrifying. Yeah, just certain shit like that is scary, but I love pushing myself to do that. I highly recommend doing that. Like, even like, I don't know, whatever it is, like the new thing I have that like, it doesn't scare me, but I'm scared of like obviously not landing it, is I want to learn how to backflip. I would love to learn how to do a standing backflip. I would do a lot to be able to backflip off of an amplifier. Why? Who knows? So, yeah, you got to face your fucking fears, dude. It's such a good exercise in being alive. Like, and it's funny to know like how many people can't handle fear. Like, I went whitewater rafting with it was my buddy Rafe's birthday, which was just yesterday. And went out and saw him. I did a guest spot on his shows, sold out at the Westport Funnybone, and fucking killed. Dude, just fucking murdered. Tina went up, did a guest spot. I went up, did a guest spot. Both had fucking killer sets. I had so much fun. I had so much fun. I'll talk about that maybe later. But yeah, and then Ronaldo Mercado hosted and crushed. Will O'Donnell crushed. It was a fucking really, really fun show of just all dudes, including Tina D-Ball. She would love that I say that. Yeah, but it was for Ray's birthday. It was me, our buddy Tim, Tina, and we were all whitewater rafting. And I know I'll tell that whole story later, but Tina is like she has this badass quality to her. So sometimes I assume things for her, and we went whitewater rafting. And to me, whitewater rafting is like just a little bit scarier if than like a roller coaster. Like, I don't get scared on roller coaster. I'm not like, are we gonna die? Same thing with that. But like, there was a part where we were flipping. Well, the guy, like, they planned to flip you on the whitewater rafting thing. And I knew they were going to do it. But I didn't know, like, right here or whatever. And then we go off this, like, waterfall thing. And as we go off the waterfall, I'm like, yeah. And I know we're falling. We're like, whatever you want to call it. The whole boat's flipping over us. And this huge buff guy that was with us being like, stroke. And it goes off. And then, dude, Tina D-Ball starts falling on me. And while I'm like smiling, laughing, I think she's going to smile and laugh too, that she's like falling on me. I see Tina go full primal fight or flight. Not even, dude. Like, kill Bobby, use him as a raft. Like, I know for a fact that like in the society, Tina cares about me and loves me. But in the world of whitewater rafting, would absolutely kill me and then say sorry later. And we've talked about this. She would also agree. But that's something fun about facing your fear. And I think it helped Tina do that. You know what I mean? And then it's like, there's something fun about doing something that does scare you. There's something about getting that adrenaline going. Because like, if you go to the edge of where a sidewalk meets the grass, pretend that's a cliff. It seems manageable because you know it's not. That's kind of why I like heights and stuff like that. And you have to be safe. But I always think that like pushing yourself to that limit, like, yeah. And dude, like and I've talked about this before. I talked about this on Glazer's podcast, but we were talking about like, I played at an open mic and I did music and my leg was shaking. I fucking sucked, but I like doing that shit that scares you. I almost am sad that there might be a day that I accomplish all of them. And then you're just like, well, I guess I'm not scared of anything, and that like, whatever, but you'll always be scared of something. But I really think that I want to push through on like, I don't want to be scared of like anything you don't have to be scared of, yeah, let me talk about this weekend, dude. It was, so Rafe was headlining at the Westport Funnybone, which is where I started stand-up. That was a place I did my very first open mic. And I just, like, whether it's my accomplishment or a friend of mine's accomplishment, there's certain weight that's held in places that, it's like hollowed ground or whatever. So I show up to the Funnybone, and I didn't tell Rafe I was coming. I'm sure he might have known I was coming at some point that weekend, but I wanted to come on his birthday. I wanted to come on his back, really. But no, I wanted to come on his birthday, but dude, I had to work. That's whatever. It's, how everyone knows how that is. And so I was like, well, I'll come see him the night before and I'll go hang out. And so I go to his show and I see Tina first, and she walks up, gives me a big hug, and I see Rafe, and then he gives me a big hug. And then, dude, I love this, dude. I love this for my friends. I love seeing this. It's wild, dude. And I don't mean that in the way that you never think it's going to happen wild. It's just like to actually see it. Like when you start, everyone thinks you're going to be all famous. You're like, I can't believe they're going to hire all of us at Saturday Night Live. That's going to be crazy when they hire a whole group, And then, it doesn't happen like that. And then you start hanging out, and then, some people, take off quickly. Some people, whatever. But Rafe's always killed, always been so funny, sold out shows, all that stuff. But now, because he's on in St. Louis, we have 105.7 The Point. He's on that morning show, the Rizzuto Show, which is, I believe it's top 50 like podcasts, even though it's a morning show. And I can't recommend it enough because it's not a you're listening to Dan in the morning. You know what I mean? It's not like, what's that smell? It's not that. It's like, it's really good. It's just them talking and chatting. And then, they got to promote like citing and stuff like that, like companies and stuff. But like, because they do that, like I had a friend who knew I've opened for Dave Chappelle, done all this stuff. But when he heard me on The Point one morning, he was like, I cannot believe you were on 105.7 The Point. I was like, yeah, dude. And so now Rafe's on the morning show and he's fucking crushing it. Everyone loves him. It's amazing. And to see people like walk up, people dressed like him, people he has a black shirt he'll wear a lot with it's like a V-neck. And, that's like, it's a shirt he wears a lot. And so they're like, look, me and my wife dressed like you. Like seeing guys who have construction jobs, they're like, hey, man, I don't bow to no man. And they're like, Rafe, look, me and my wife dressed up as you. It's so fucking cool. And I saw that happen to Rafe. Before he even did the show, he walked in the showroom. He's like, I got to go over there and like check something out. And people noticed him and everyone started clapping. I started fucking whistling. The same thing happened for Tina when I saw her on the road in Chicago. Her, Libby Higgins, Chelsea Lynn, Trailer Trash Tammy, you might know her as. They all did a show in Chicago. And dude, it was one of the loudest applause like to an opening show I've ever fucking heard in my life. And then everyone killed. The audience could not, they were hanging on every word. And then afterwards we were backstage. When we came out, someone saw Tina and started seeing that they were filing out. And I felt like I was hanging out with the Beatles. Like literally someone went, oh, there they are. And I was like, amazed. And I was with Steve actually because we were in Chicago, and I literally put my arm around him like, look, we made it, because they were definitely not clapping and applauding for us. But yeah, dude, it was awesome. Everyone like couldn't wait to see the show, and so he gave me a guest spot. And if you're unfamiliar, a guest spot is just when normally it's a host, a feature, and a headliner. And a guest spot, it happens some shows, not all the time. There's a lot of factors before it'll go in, but I just came out to hang out, and he was like, hey, do you want to do some time? That's how it is. They just throw people up that are their friends, that are acquaintances, or that, you go to another city and a guy who is a security guard more normally is like, hey, can I do a guest spot? And I'm like, well, shouldn't you be doing security? He's like, well, if anyone fucks with you. Could you imagine he's getting the light and someone's kicking the shit out of you, and he's like, I'm almost done with this joke. There was actually that has happened to me in another city, not St. Louis, but there was a comic in St. Louis that he was like, hey, is that weird if I do that? I was like, no, but you got to be careful with how you ask or whatever. I never ask. That's my way of doing it. And eventually you kind of learn that maybe you could ask, but don't ask people how to do that. You just got to figure. That's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, just seeing fucking Rafe, it was just like it was amazing. And so Ronaldo goes up and hosts, and then he brings up Tina, and then he brings up me, after Tina goes up, and dude, they were already warmed up. They were an awesome crowd, but I had to say it. I get on stage, I was like, because no one knows how, a lot of these people I don't think have ever been to a comedy club. It's how it is a lot, but people wanted to see Rafe. They're not coming out to like, just because they want to see his show. They're like, they want to see Rafe. And so when these fucking, dude, it was awesome. I get on stage and I love when I don't have to like just start with doing stand-up, because it feels so forced. That's why at the beginning of this, like, I don't like, when I start to plan stuff too much, I get out of my head. I don't feel right, you know? So I go on stage and I was like, guys, keep it going for all the comedians you saw. Thank you. Keep it going for yourselves and your lackluster energy. And I kind of laugh and I go, I've never seen more people want to see any other comic. And everyone starts laughing. It's like, Rafe's gonna come up. We all can't wait for him to come up. But I have to explain to you guys how much we can tell you don't want to see it. You've seen some A+ comics and you're just like, is he gonna be up here yet? And I saw a guy and I go, oh, look, you got tickets outside. You said you didn't have tickets. Did you just want to talk to Rafe, you fuck? And like started like fucking with everybody and then got into my act. But it was just fun to like joke about that or whatever, because I remember one time I had a lot of people come out to see me at like one of my first shows, and Josh Arnold, who he's on the Bob and Tom show, he's fucking hilarious. And he booked me, and I brought a lot of friends out because I was like brand new. All my friends from high school were like, we want to see Bobby Bomb. And everyone, there was so many people there to see me that Josh goes, real quick, who's here to see Bobby? And everyone starts clapping. I go, cool. He will be up here. Just so you guys know, it's just not just his night. Fuck. And so, yeah, dude, so I went on stage and just, I had a fucking killer set. And I'm not doing, I'm like, yeah, dude, I crushed. Like, I'm just saying I did great, had a good time. Tina, when I get off, she goes, Bobby, I literally fucking hate that you wrote that joke. And I go, oh, that's mean. She goes, no, that joke you have is so good. I have this joke that I love doing, and I actually had to do it quicker because I realized I was like, oh, I'm almost like, I got the light. And so I was like, I got to wrap this up. So I had to shorten the joke, but I do this joke about how God's gay. And if you've seen me on the road, it's just, I like doing jokes and they'll kind of sit somewhere and I'm always working on them. But like this joke is my favorite. Whenever I get into it, I'm like, here we go. And then when I'm in the middle of it, no matter if they like it or don't, I'm like, I'm having fun. And so I just do this joke about how God is gay. And everyone was on board. Everyone was laughing. I got to go. I'm like rapid fire because I was like, oh, I got the light. And I was like, later. And I get on stage and T is like, I fucking hate you. And Rafe's like, dude, I haven't seen that bit. Like, you've just been working that on the road. I'm like, dude, it's getting so tight. He's like, it was so tight, dude. And I was like, just to have that energy. And then I just went and sat back in what we call the bullpen of the Funnybone. And that is the first place you sit when you sign up for the open mic and you are scared shitless. You're so excited. That moment feels, you got to go through it to understand it. I don't really have a great way to explain it. And I just like was sitting back there and dude, I could cry right now. I can feel tears well up in the back of my pussy ass eyes. I can just feel me, and that weight, and I felt like a totally different person, you know, because I was fucking, the first time I did stand up was in 2009 there, and so I'm sitting where I used to sit, and I'm like looking around at like where I used to sit, and I would go check the list 1,000 times. Like, did they move me around? Did someone go in front of me? Okay, cool. I have to piss. Okay, let me get another drink. Should I smoke a cigarette? Yeah. Like, you have no idea how nervous you are because it's not even like being in a band. You don't have like all your friends. You're like, let's go show them who's boss. These are like new colleagues. You have to get their approval in a way. You got to learn like what to do and not do. You're gonna fuck up. And you got to know how to recover from that. It's a lot more like skateboarding. You're going to fall way more times than you're going to land, and everyone will be like, yeah! So learn how to fall and get back up and learn how to fall like more gracefully. And just to be back there and to watch my friends be on stage, because you never know what's going to happen. But I remember thinking about the future when I would sit back in that bullpen. Dude, if I don't want to cry, but if I would sit back in that fucking bullpen, and I got to sit back there this time almost like I would if I was in like high school and be like, we made it. And I'm like, and dude, Sure. Am I a fucking selling out theaters? No. Am I still working sometimes a regular job? Fuck yes. But fuck you if you can't like stop to smell the flowers every once in a while. And I know I have a lot more that I want to do and work towards and stuff, but I just got to sit back there and like that Coldplay song, when you try your best but you don't succeed, when you get what you want but that song was in my head, that fucking Blink-182, one more time, yeah. Like I had a wave of emotions, dude. And I'll talk about them until the day I die. But I also, dude, when I was there and at the competition, before I knew Story of the Year, I wrote to them on Twitter because they all had Twitters, even though some of them didn't use it. And I sent pictures of them. They had tickets waiting. And I'm like, if you guys want to come to a free show, you guys got tickets because I'm gay for you guys. I'm like, did anyone get those tickets? Like I put tickets at will call like they were my fucking long lost dad. More like my long-lost Dan Marsala. Okay, so, yeah, I just got to sit in the back and have that moment where I was like, I know everyone at this club. I just ordered a drink from the bar and tipped, and it was only tequila, which Bobby hasn't drank in a while, and I threw up the next day. I haven't drank a lot, and that night I was like, I'm feeling silly, and I did not feel good the next day, and I had to skip work in the morning because I was like tuckered out. So it's just, those moments are good, man. They really are. Just to like take in and be like, I can't believe I'm here right now. And then I get a text from my buddy Dave. I call him Bart Nachos. But I get a text from my buddy Dave, and Dave Reagan texts me, and he's like, hey, we're at the waiting room. It's for Josh Will's birthday. It's like I don't know who they are. The drummer for Story of the Year. And he couldn't have given a fuck less that I wanted to say hi to him. No, I'm just kidding. I was like going to text him, but sometimes I'm like, is that like, I don't even know if he wants to be like, oh, thanks, man. Because out of all of the band, he does like me, but I don't think he's like, what's Bobby up to? Do you know what I'm saying? As much as Dan or Ryan or Adam. And so it was his birthday, and I was like, I knew they might be hanging out, but I'm not going to be like, hey, what are you guys doing? And so I get a text from him. He's like, hey, come hang out afterwards. So I got to do the show. I did the next show. I did a guest spot, and I was like, dude, do you mind if I dip? And Rafe was like, no, man. He's like, I don't mind. And so I did the show. I got to go on stage at the place I started doing stand-up. Fucking had such a good set. Because sometimes you can kill, but you're still like, it feels like you're playing you're playing a sport. You're trying to accomplish something. And then sometimes it feels like when you're on stage, it feels so good. You could almost you're like on another vibration. Like I'm making faces at this guy. Was like, dude, you were making so many faces. Like, I don't even remember. I was just having fun. I was just feeling it. I was so in it. And that's the best thing, dude. Doing stand-up's fun pretty much most of the time, dude. Like, but those moments are really, really special. And then to be like, I'm going to go hang out with my favorite fucking band and party for a little bit. I was just like, I'm lucky. Is it going to work now? Cool. So sorry. Video got interrupted because I ran out of storage. If it's not one thing, it's another thing. And I hope I didn't fuck up the intro whenever I tried to redo this. One day I'll know exactly how this stuff works, but instead I'm doing my 70% rule, which is you try to get more of a 70 instead of trying so hard. Just so freaking hard. But anyway, it cut off when I was being sentimental, I think. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, I feel incredible. I really do. I have a great life. I love the things that I get to do. I love the friendships I've made. I love realizing how far I've came. Come. That's what the come in Discombobulated stands for. But yeah, that's so, I hope you are doing what you want to do. Go check out Rafe Williams, go follow him. Cause he just had his special come out. Check it out. Young Grandpa. It's so cool to see, how many people just like could not wait, to see him the other day. It was so cool. Cause he's an amazing person and he deserves all of this. Every single thing. It's funny to think about like him not doing these things like before. It just, certain things just seem so right, you know? Like when men kiss, some things just seem right. Which actually, and I've thought about this a lot. I feel like when two guys kiss, that's not as gay as whenever, like, what's gay is when I kiss girls, right? And I know some people are like, no, that's not my point. I'm just like two men kissing. It's like, there you go, you know, dude. Two girls kissing, girl. But whenever you're like, you have to like learn about it. You're like, what do you like? Okay. And then you have to give it, that's just like it's just so stupid. But that's the podcast this week. Go ahead and check out bobbyjaycox.com. I have a show coming up October 13th at Perennial. I am headlining that show, so come check that out. It's in St. Louis, Missouri. I had a show at the end of this month. Get canceled already, so follow me on Patreon because stuff like that happens. We're going to reschedule and with more dates, so don't worry about that. Like literally, like this show that got canceled, like now there's probably going to be 3, so don't think I'm like, everything's fine. So like, you know, just don't, everything's great. But yeah, go to my website. We have merch for sale. Go check that out. If you like this, share it with somebody. And I had so much fun doing, what was episode, was it 15, I guess, maybe? Freudian Sip. Dude, had a fucking bump in how many people were listening to that one. So keep sharing it. It's free. Why wouldn't you? Why the fuck would you not? Thank you. Bye. This is over. Now. No, now.